This new Batman and powerless Superman aren't getting along, but now Vandal Savage is back and it's time for them to work together again. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues, and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now this takes place in the timeline directly after Endgame and during the period in which Superman has no powers. This is before Darkseid War. They're just happening at the same time in the comic books. Now, we do have videos explaining how Superman lost his powers and why Batman is technically dead right now, but I'll give you a quick rundown. Superman learned that he had a new power in which he could expel all of his solar power into a massive blast. But shortly after discovering this, a villain known as Hodor Root discovered Superman's identity and blackmailed him. In an attempt to clear his name, Lois revealed to the world that Clark Kent is Superman. This move took away Hodor's blackmailing power, but it started a chain of events that ended with Superman losing the majority of his powers. Batman fought against Joker in Batman Endgame, and in the end, Batman died with the Joker, but they died next to a healing pool known as Dynesium. He eventually did come back, but everything about him healed, including the trauma in his brain, giving him amnesia. Gotham couldn't be without a Batman, so they have a government-sanctioned robotic Batman suit being piloted by Jim Gordon. These two individuals were forced to work together to stop a mini-sun from being stolen, but they failed. Batman told Superman to get the heck out of Gotham because he is a liability without his powers, and Superman started to search for the group behind the theft. By stealing some of old Batman's tech and telling this new Batman that he's out of Gotham and out of his hair, he then hangs up on Batman and scans the streets down below for a target, finding an armored truck. Using the Wayne tech he stole, he scans the inside of the truck and he finds members of Dawn Command, the group that stole the mini-sun. While he doesn't have his powers, Superman isn't without his resources as he uses tools from the old Batman, including the Bat Chopper, to get members of Dawn Command lifted out of there. But that's when things take a twisted turn as the truck explodes in his face and he finds himself being shot to the ground. Because there stands Vandal Savage, an immortal and one of the most dangerous men in the world. Superman gets up and throws a punch at Savage, but the immortal man is too much for him, throwing him through a series of trees. Savage then takes a gun from one of his troops and burns him with it for failing. He then demands that everyone get back in the truck and leave, except another one of his soldiers explains, "Olaf had the keys, the guy you just burnt." Luckily, Superman has been picked up by a friend and carried out of the battlefield because Batgirl was driving by in her motorcycle and saw her injured friend. At least Superman now knows who's behind the Dawn Command and who planned the theft of the mini-sun. But he's going to need a new plan of attack, and when he wakes up in the Batcave 8 hours later with Batgirl next to him, she agrees, telling him to shut up and eat his soup while she figures this out. She runs the story down for him. You started off fighting barbarians with Batman that were hijacking major energy sources, and then you found that they were carrying weapons that were hundreds of years old. And then you got your butt kicked by Savage, who is something like 3,000 years old. So if we tap into the Argus data for any unusual virus activity and matching energy signatures, boom, his base is located in Siberia. Superman looks at it shocked. I know what you've been doing lately, Superman, flying solo to protect everyone you know and be Batman, but let me clue you in on a little secret. Bruce never did it alone. So Batgirl and Superman make their way to Siberia, where Batgirl calls in her friends, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. They walk up to the Siberian Research Center and the head honcho opens fire with his gun, telling him, "Vandal Savage can't do this!" But it's actually Superman, and he grabs the gun, telling the researchers that he's here with his friends to help. It turns out Vandal Savage is threatening to kill every researcher and miner here if they don't present him with more uranium. And to prove that he is still the superhero Superman, he catches a missile that threatens to fall and crush the head researcher and his family. So their plan begins. Batgirl will go over the tech in the facility and prepare for Vandal's return. Grayson will get everyone new identities and develop an escape plan. And Red Hood, well, he used to be a Robin, the mean one, he'll be the weapons master and drill instructor to get everyone ready for Vandal Savage and his Dawn Command. Superman is Superman, but he'll need help this time. The team discusses their plans and Red Hood votes that they just murder Vandal Savage and end this finally, but Superman says it for Batgirl. Red Hood, you weren't invited to kill people. As they continue to discuss their ultimate plans, shadow monsters arrive and they begin attacking Superman, Red Hood, Grayson, and Batgirl. Superman explains that they aren't living creatures, and if they're here, then Vandal Savage is behind this too, like they thought. But suddenly, out of nowhere, the Bat Blimp arrives and shoots up all of the shadow creatures. Jim Gordon Batman joins the party. "Who called Batman?" Batgirl asks. "Not happy about this, Kent," he says, coming down to the fight. Neither am I, but here we are, so let's finish this up. Superman says as he gets back into the fight with the shadow creatures. After defeating all of them, Batman says all of Superman's data checked out. It turns out, Superman sent over everything to Batman to have it verified. The entire facility was funded and created by Vandal Savage 20 years ago so that he can stockpile uranium. And it's Vandal Savage's minions that have been stealing Superman's power. The mini sun that they took from Gotham can level an entire city. And once Batman blows the ice out near them, they see an old Nazi spaceship that appears to have crash landed right here in Siberia. So the team suits up with body armor and weapons and they head over to Vandal Savage's teleporter, where Batgirl has it backtraced to his ship hovering over the planet. Their plan is to take the fight to Vandal Savage himself. They teleport up with Savage and his team wondering who could possibly be using their teleporter, just as Superman and everyone teleport in, and Batman crashes through the roof of the ship. He begins dropping Savage as Superman runs through the ship, kicking in doors, and Batman blasts Savage with guns in the back until Savage finally gets to Superman and grabs him, using him as a weapon against Batman. Realizing that Vandal Savage is stronger than both of them, Batman grabs Superman and jumps back through the portal before leaving behind a grenade on the ship, destroying the teleporter. But as Vandal Savage says, this only gives them a few hours, and he makes his move. 6 hours later, he arrives at the research center with Dawn Command in tow. He demands the uranium so that he can power the mini-sun, and the Dawn Command reports Batman and Superman are here. So they take the uranium and they begin to walk it over to the sun, and that's when they see Batgirl hiding. They open fire on her, and then Batman and Superman teleport in. The problem is, Vandal Savage already took power from the mini-sun and the uranium, and he goes to hit the guns on his ship, and instead, it launches into the sky. Batgirl rewired the ship so that instead of powering the guns, it would power the engines. Realizing that he's been bested, he begins tearing the ship apart, trying to get away, and the whole thing explodes. Superman tells the Dawn Command to track Savage as he just can't die. But Dawn Command tells him that there is no one in that ship. Grayson asks the group, "You think he died or teleported?" "Hoping he died. Probably teleported," Red Hood tells him. Superman turns to Batman. "All right, we have to evac the civilians and mop up." "Wait," Batman says, lowering his hood. "My name's Jim Gordon." "Jim, huh? Name's Clark. Pleased to meet you." We all know the cliches. Superman is the light and Batman is the darkness. Superman fights for justice and Batman fights for vengeance. But in the end, the only thing that matters is Batman and Superman. They won't give up on the mission or on each other. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @Comicstorian, check out our Instagram @Comicstorian, or check out our gaming channel Eligible Monster, where you can find gaming comic books, let's plays, and various other fun content. I'll see you guys next time right here.